after all, you look at the 10 characteristics of a teacher of God in the Course. One of them is joy. This is not a suffering, morose kind of spirituality. This is something that's supposed to be fun. The Course talks about the happy dream. There's a lot about happiness in the Course, a lot about joy. And that's what great masters like Buddha and Jesus were actually like. They liked to bring out the joy in other people. They had a good sense of humor. They weren't these, suffering bastards that you see in the movies. It's like, they understood that, if anything, this world cannot be taken seriously. And they understood a lot of other things, that we'll get into, but they like to bring out the joy in people. And so I like to tell jokes in my workshops, as you'll see, but what I like to do is point out that, as we said, there are three major ways of undoing this thing called the ego. The first one is simply putting the Holy Spirit in charge. You can use any words you want. You could get up in the morning, take 10 seconds and say, Holy Spirit, you be in charge of my life today. You be in charge of my my thoughts. And of course, what you do is a result of what you think. So you don't really have to think that much about what you do, because the focus of A Course in Miracles is more on the level of cause, which is the mind, and not so much on the level of the effect, which is the universe of time and space that we see without realizing that what we're seeing is actually a projection, that it's not real. There isn't really any universe of time and space. It just looks that way. What there is a projection of a universe of time and space, very much like a movie. And I'll grant you that this movie seems pretty intense and it seems pretty real. But that doesn't make it real. I mean, by the end of this century, they will have movies that you can walk into that will seem every bit as real as this. Where you'll be able to feel things. They already have the technology where you can feel things that are not there. It's like they're going to have movies that you won't be able to tell the difference between the movie and what we call reality. And people will be able to act out their fantasies, and they'll be able to do all kinds of things in these movies. Imagine, the temptation, to stick around and kind of like, play with illusions, and just kind of like, keep coming back over and over again. It's going to be enormous temptation. But what is temptation as we go along? But I was joking with Percy. I said, hey, Percy, I can resist anything except temptation. And and she said, well, what is temptation really? And then she gave me that marvelous definition of temptation that you find in A Course in Miracles at the end of the text. It starts out that last section called Choose Once Again. It says, temptation has one lesson it would teach in all its forms, wherever it occurs. It would persuade the Holy Son of God he is a body, born in what must die, unable to escape its frailty, and bound by what it orders him to feel. That's temptation, the temptation to regard ourselves as bodies. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with experiencing that you're a body. Obviously, that's our experience. And I'm not here to deny anybody their experience. I'm just here to say that it's a false experience, that it's not true. Yes, our experience is that we are bodies, but we're not bodies. We're something else, which we'll get into. And part of the purpose of A Course in Miracles is to facilitate a true experience instead of the false experience. Albert Einstein said that a person's experience is kind of like an optical delusion of consciousness. We think that we're stuck in this tiny speck of time and space, and that's reality. And it's not reality. It's like a physicist would tell you today. A physicist would say that you're a non-spatial being having a spatial experience. So your experience is that you're confined to this tiny little speck of time and space, and you actually think that you're in a body. And even that's not true. We're not in bodies. It just looks that way. It's a trick. It's Einstein's optical delusion, and it's what the Hindus and the Buddhists call the ego, what the Hindus call the world of multiplicity. You look out and you see these billions of people out there, and you think that there are really billions of people. But no matter how many times you seem to split it off and divide the mind over and over again, and no matter how many times that mind appears to show up as a body, in the projection, there's always really just one of us. There's really just one ego. There's really just one teacher of A Course in Miracles, and that's the Holy Spirit. And there's really just one student of A Course in Miracles, and that's you. Because there's only one ego, and you're it. It's not somebody else.